Feel the same way, kid. I feel the same way. All right. I'm just going to get started. It's already 8:01. So, good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Next on Live with Wodline. It's been a minute. After 2 postponed conversations, I'm glad to be back. I missed you guys. Tonight's conversation will be about fatherhood, marriage, and life with my brother, Pastor Harry Jean. I'm going to bring him on. I know he sent him the request. Okay, let me get it. Himself. Did I do it right? Hey!
Hey, what's going on, sis?
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing well. I'm tired, but
Listen, yeah, that's the nature of the beast. Yeah, life is happening, right?
Yes. How are you and the family?
Oh, my family, look, nothing's up there, so my family's driving me nuts, which is a good thing. No, but
Got it.
everyone's well. Family's doing
Okay.
well.
Okay.
They're keeping me busy. We're busy, and so life
That's
is
good.
happening right now. But I'm excited to be on with you today. I'm excited to be with all our
Yes.
friends, and yeah, it's been a while.
It has.
How are
I don't know the
you?
last time I saw you. Oh, I'm okay. Yeah, I'm okay.
Well,
That's the best thing I can
okay
say.
is
I'm
good.
okay.
Okay is good.
Yes. Yeah. Be okay. So for those who don't know who you are, tell us about yourself. I'm just gonna
All
go
right.
right on in.
All right. So listen, my name is most of the community know who I am. My name is Harry. Most people know me by Harry. Some people know me by Pastor Harry, but it's just Harry, your brother, your friend. I've been a father for almost 24 years. Been married for 24 years. 6 beautiful kids. Um, hey, how are you? Um, hey, Patty. Hello, guys. So I've been, a father of 6, 3 boys and 3 girls. I've been doing this father thing for quite some time. Um, I moved up in my ranks. I'm also a grandfather as well. So
Congratulations.
thank you. But he can't call me grandpa. That's not mentally. I'm not there yet. He calls me
Excuse me.
papa. That's okay. He calls me pop pop. I'll take it, but mentally I'm not there. I told my grandson if he calls me grandpa, I'm knocking him out. And so
Oh,
that's
okay.
the yeah, I'm knocking him out. And so that's the agreement we have. He calls me pop pop. So yeah, my oldest is married. He has a son. So my household, which was a household of 8 of us, my wife and my 6 kids, is now a household of 10. So it's put it like this: my house. This should be a sitcom. My household.
Okay.
It's always live. There's always something going on. There's never a dull moment. I've been in the ministry for quite some time. For those of you who know me, my family is the founding family of Ebenezer Christian Missionary Alliance Church on South Orange Avenue in Newark. Founded this ministry in 83, 84. We're not there anymore, but accepted reluctantly the calling to pastoral ministries quite some time ago. Reluctantly because I've been in ministry for quite some time. I know the good, bad, and the ugly, and I ran from God every single day of my life until He gently put His hands on me and said, "Listen, let's do this." And so here we are. We're still alive and active in ministry. Still have a love for not only the body of Christ, but people in general. I am who I am. Everyone who knows me, whether it's from the times, we were doing combat zone at Ebenezer, whether it's the times at Irvington High, it's the same Harry, just much more mature, much more refined, much more blessed, much more focused. But I still have deep love in my heart for people. for the people of God and people in general. So, yeah, I'm excited to get down into our conversation today, and I'm excited to see everyone. Dave, what's going on, brother? How you doing? Mass choir.
Samar said mass choir.
Nigella, what's up, girl?
So, before we continue, I have a question. Do you smile in your pictures?
No, I'm not because I'm I've been known to be a thug, so I got to keep my. No, I don't know. Everyone asks me the same question. I've never smiled in my pictures. It's just, I don't smile. Maybe it's that fake thug in me. I don't know what it is, but no, because we have a couple of pictures of me and all of them are thug mode, right?
I'm like,
I got an image to maintain. I got an image to maintain with the kids, so the kids know I ain't playing. When they see the thug face, they know I'm not playing. But no, I'm not a thug. I'm such a fake thug.
got it. So, you are a Haitian PK. And
Yeah.
I would love to know, has growing up in a Haitian household shaped your marriage and parenting experience in any way? And if so, how?
Wow. Growing up in a Haitian household, um, it's it's been a journey. In the Haitian church, it's been a journey. In the Haitian household, yeah, it was tough. You grew up in a way where, strict way where if mom and dad says something, mom and dad says, uh, go paint the house. You don't ask how. You don't ask why.
Right.
You don't tell your parents, well, dad, mom, I'm not a painter. I don't know how to paint a house. I don't care. Make a ladder, paint the house. You don't have the right to ask why. And so now growing up and having a family of my own, being an adult and having a family of my own, it's not the case. You can't, my child, if I ask one of my children, specifically the younger ones, to do something, they may ask why. And that's not disrespectful. They genuinely, they genuinely want to know why. It's just they're not, trying to be ingrat or disrespectful. And we need to let the child know why we want them to do X, Y, Z. So it's not in this disrespectful way. It's pure curiosity. But yeah, growing in a Haitian household, there's certain things that I absorbed from my mother and father growing up, being a strict parent and knowing that we're set apart and knowing that, for example, my dad. My dad, no matter what, they used to think my dad was in the mafia before they knew he was a pastor. Because no matter what, it doesn't matter what the activity is. We could have a day out in the park with the school, and my dad's coming in his full three-piece suit and his hat. And so, my parents used to always say something. Woodline, I know you would, my Haitian folks, you would know this. My mother would always say something to me. My late mother would always say, Ali, respecter tête ou comporter tête en façon pour l'arriver devant société pour ne pas parler mal. So basically what I said is in Creole is, Harry, conduct yourself in a manner so that when you're in public, they won't look at you as some type of vagabond. But my mother used to say société, society, right? But when I was young, I didn't know what société was. So every time she tell me respect that people all live in society, I'm like, yo, man, when we going to this society place, who are they? Why should I care much about these society people? I don't know who they are. Not understanding that what she was trying to instill in me is like, Harry, no matter what, you conduct yourself in a not only a godly manner, but you conduct yourself with dignity and honor, no matter what you do, no matter where you go. You have a reputation to hold up, and so that shaped me big time in raising my kids and being a father. I instill the same value and precept in my kids and my family. No matter where you go, know who you are. You're just not anyone. You're highly favored. You're my son. You're my daughter, and conduct yourself at the highest standard at all times.
Oh, that's true. And it's so funny you mentioned like the three-piece suit. I remember
Yeah,
like every time you go to like a graduation, whether it's high school or college, you can always
yeah,
spot the Haitians. I'm like,
yeah. Yeah, you're like, yeah, yeah. You know. First of all, you know about a jaw, and you know about a three-piece suit. Yeah, yeah, that's a Haitian right there. Yeah, you got the three-piece suit.
yes,
It's 110 degrees outside, and you got
yep,
a three-piece suit on. Yeah, yeah,
that's so
absolutely.
true. So you mentioned earlier you're a father of 6 kids and a pop of
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
How has fatherhood changed you?
Oh man, it's emotional. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I've been a father for uh, going on 24 years, and I'm still in awe. When I look at my kids, you know, I'm still in awe. I'm still speechless to see who they've become. I'm still in awe at the opportunity that God has given me to be a father to these human beings. I'm not the best. I don't get it right all the time. On the contrary, I don't have, I don't, I don't have all the right words to say a lot of the times. Um, but it, it it allowed me to understand the love of Christ more um, in my life and the love of Christ more. Uh, it allows me to have a deeper relationship with Christ because every time I look at my kids, the immense love that I have for them, day in and day out, no matter you listen, I love them all the time. Sometimes I don't like them much, but I love them all the time. Sometimes they get on my
Mm-hmm.
last nerves, but I love
Yes.
them all the time. And to think that the love that I have for my kids is does not compare to the love that Christ has for me and for us. Uh,
Yeah.
uh, Takes me to a whole nother level and just being in awe. And so compassion that I have, the patience that I try to uh, gain more and more every day in my life is attributed to my kids. The piece of the hair that I don't have is contributed to my kids as well. But yeah, it allowed me. For anyone who knows me in the past, know I was a fireball. So my kids allowed me to be more subdued and focused. And I can't imagine my life without my babies. Those are my babies. All those are my
Mm.
babies. All of them. From my 23-year-old son to my 8-year-old son to my 1.5-year-old grandson, I still tell my sons every day that I love them. Every single day.
Mm.
My sons hear that
Mm.
from me that I love them. I give my sons kisses and let them know that I love them. Forget about my daughters. Of course, they get the hugs and the kisses from me. And so, outside of Christ, my family is who allows me to still be here today. Outside of Christ, it's my wife and my kids.
Wow, that's
It's all
awesome.
about them.
You hmm. You mentioned you saying I love you to your sons and kissing them.
Mhm.
If you don't mind me asking, did you grow up getting that from your father?
So everyone knows Pastor Wusini. That's
Okay.
my guy. Everyone knows Pastor Osini. If you know Pastor Osini, throw some hearts up there. Show some love for the OG because he's he's the man. He's the real McCoy. Pastor Osini, what you see on the pulpit is what it is at home. That's my man. However, that's not something that that's not my dad's love language.
Hmm.
And it's crazy because my love language is affection. My love language
Hmm.
is words of love and affirmation. That's my love language. But that wasn't how my father rocked with, at least not with me. Now my mother,
Okay.
I lost my mother probably 12 years ago. Now my mother, yeah, that was my baby. My mother, me and my mother were tight.
Hmm.
And my mother, when my mother passed, I was able to absorb it a little better than my siblings because one of the things I remember every day, I would tell my mother, I love you, Mom. And Mom would say, I love you too, baby, every single day. And so when my mother passed, there was no doubt what she felt about me and what I felt about her. and I had no regrets because I let my mother know every single day the love I've had for her, and it was reciprocal. But my dad, um, you know, growing up, nah, it's not something, you heard much. His love language was like, ou gen kote pou dormi, ou gen manje pou manger.
Mm-hmm.
Vraiment. It's like you got somewhere to sleep, you got food to eat. I like you. So that was
I
about it.
like
But
you.
yeah, I like you. I like you. So you as I got older, I understood that, that's just not my dad's love language. Now, as I started having kids, I would poke at him a little, like, I would
Mm.
purposely say to him, Dad, I love you, buddy. Just to see what he would say. He was like, okay, buddy. Now I'm like, oh, shoot. No love in return. At this point, I'm just playing around with him and see if he's going to throw it out there. I love you, Dad.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, okay. But if Betty or Lee, my sister say, Daddy, I love you, he'll repeat back to them, I love you. And so, but,
Mm.
no, I didn't grow up with my dad hearing I love you from my dad. But there was no way on heaven or earth that my sons, in this ratchet world in which we live in,
Mm.
where our kids it can be pulled from every which way, every direction with the snap of a finger. There would never be a day that my sons won't hear from me unless I'm 6 feet under. That I
Mm.
love them, and I tell my sons this every day, and it's just random conversation. My son will call me, Dad, can you pick me up some chips? All right, buddy, no problem. I love you, buddy. And it's reciprocal, and they'll repeat that. I love. As a matter of fact, they'll say, I love you more. And
Mm.
sometimes we go back and forth. Nah, man, I love you more. So it's my life, my kids, my
That's
family.
awesome.
You got it.
The next question I have for you is, what are some of the challenges you faced as a father and as a Black man, and how were you able to overcome them?
It's it's tough.
Mm.
It's tough. It's tough being a father. It's even harder being a man in these
Mm.
days. Um, because no matter what, you got to have it all together. Because that's what society says, right? You got to have it all together. You can't let them see you sweat. Uh,
Mm.
you can't be emotional. Uh, you can't cry. No matter, it doesn't matter if no one's there for you. You got to muster it up and do it anyway. You got to keep on moving anyway. And so, being a man alone is being a father in this day and time is. Uh, I'm beside myself sometimes. When we were younger, when I was younger, it was hard for us to gather certain information. You know, it was tough for us to get into trouble when we were younger. Not that I got myself in a good fair trouble because I knew where to find it. But it took
Mm.
time to find that trouble. But now it's so easy for trouble to just come knocking at your front door. And one of the issues I have with Haitian parents growing up in the Haitian community is that um, I would tell my dad this all the time. They swear that, they had it worse when they were younger than these kids have it now. These kids have it
Mm.
worse. Everything is accessible to these kids. Um, my kids have to have a phone. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's part of society. My kids got to have a computer because
School.
school is all
Mm.
revolves around your computer. Your work is being sent to, to Google, and all your schoolwork is done through your computer. So they have access to all this information, whether I want them to have access to it or not. They have access to it, and they're being infiltrated every single day, whether you know it or not. They're watching the Disney Channel, and there's so many hidden messages and
Mm.
that are trying to find a way into my kids' minds and trying to perpetrate and find a way to fool them, and so it's hard to keep up with everything, and it's hard to just guard and safeguard your children. I would say right now one of the biggest struggles being a father is just trying to keep my kids safe. And I don't mean just physically safe, but mentally, emotionally safe. I cannot be there with them 24/7. And so it's through the prayers of my wife and I. Shout out to my wife, Murray, who's watching
All right.
now as well. Yeah, that's my homie. That's my ace boom boom. So she's, we've been rocking out for 24 years, and we are who we are today outside of Christ. It's because of this strong woman of God. She's been holding it down for a while. Um, um, and I know I just went off on a tangent, but
It's
um,
okay.
thinking about how you're trying to keep. Hey, baby,
Oh.
what's up, baby? Thinking about how we're trying to keep our kids safe, and immediately, of course, my wife is who comes to mind because most of the time she's the one handling all the nitty gritty. She's working, I'm working, we're both hustling,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm hustling and I stay hustling at work. Where my wife is hustling at work, she has her own business, she has her own catering business, and she has to handle everything else for the kids, doctor's appointments, sports,
Mm-hmm.
everything else. That's on her, you know. But yeah, keeping our kids safe um, is probably one of the biggest challenges because I can't be there for them all the time. It's just the hope that our prayers is covering our kids and keeping them safe when we're not around.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Um, I saw this quote in an article I was reading on Black fatherhood the other day,
Mm,
and it reads, "If Black fathers are lifted up, Black families will be stronger." Do you
mm.
believe that statement to be true? Yes or no?
So let's go even beyond that. You know, I,
Oh,
I
okay.
believe, I believe the world is the way it is right now. Our country is the way it is right now in turmoil and the turbulence that we're going through. I believe that's a direct result in the breakdown of the families. It's a direct
Mm,
result of fathers that are not present, but it is also a result of just black men and men in general not being lifted up. I was
mm,
listening to somebody when I was with my last company, quite some time ago with T-Mobile. I
mm,
remember I was responsible for a district. I had about I think 15 locations I was responsible for, and I remember there were certain managers that they were the man. They carried my district, and there were times I had to stroke their ego a little so I can get some stuff out of
mm,
them. Now, listen, I know the game. I know if I tell you the best thing since sliced bread, you're going to do double the work, But you are the best thing. You are my best manager, but you like to hear it. So I'm going to let you know
mm,
you're the best thing since sliced bread, and I'm going to get product from you. I know you're going to shake and move. I remember hearing a pastor, he was saying, he said, you know, if a wife is coming home with groceries, right? And
mm,
you have to know how to maneuver. If your husband, you coming home with groceries and you know your husband's tired, and you come up to him and be like, "Yo, stop being lazy. Come outside and help me with these groceries." You knew I was coming. What? You won't get a positive result from him, right? But if that same man, you
mm,
say to him, "Baby, I know you strong. Won't you? You way much stronger than me. Please, baby, come help me. Come help me with these groceries." The guy is gonna go out there and be like, "Oh, I got this, baby." He'll grab maybe 3 or 4 bags and be like, he's like, "Oh, you think this is something?" I'll go outside and grab 10 more. And this is all strategic. And I'm saying all this to
mm,
say this. Black men, we need to, it's in this society, it's so easy. It's so easy to say how you're failing as A-Rod, what's good, buddy? We're failing as men. You're failing as a black man. You
mm,
you screwed up here. You're not doing this right. You
mm,
you, you got to be more focused. But every now and then, build your man up. Let him know how much you appreciate him. Let him know that his hustle, his work ethics is not in vain. Let him know that even though we're not quite where we need to be, I appreciate you. I see the work that you're doing every now and then. Build
mm,
him up, lift him up, because everything in life is trying to destroy your man. Everything is trying to destroy men. We're statistic left to right, especially black men. And I have 3 black sons, and every day I gotta let them know that, for example, one of my sons said, Dad, I want to be a scientist to try to find a help for cancer patients, And I told my son, well, that's noble, but forget about trying to find help with cancer patients. That's great. But I want you to shoot to try to find a cure for cancer. My daughter's is going to be an educator. And I told my daughter, it's a noble career. I love it. I'm proud of you. She's always said she was going to be an educator. But I told my daughter, listen, forget about just being an educator. Shoot for trying to be Secretary of State to try to change the educational system in this country, So I'm always trying to build my daughters and my son up, and even my wife. My wife owns her own business now, and for a while I always knew this. I knew my wife was always savvier than I was, smarter than I was, and more had more drive than me. She was a go-getter more than I ever was. And so I would encourage my wife, and she just one day she jumped and she did it. But again, whoever's listening right now, build your man up every now and then. That significant other that you have, encourage him. Let him know that he's appreciated. Let him know that he's loved. Let him know that the work he's doing, if he's trying, let him know that you see him, you love him, you see him. But we don't hear it enough. We didn't hear it growing up as young black men, and as Haitian men. We didn't hear it growing up. It's not part of our culture. But I tell you, I speak to brothers, whether they're pastors, whether they're professionals, 24/7. And I tell you the struggle that black men are going through, the aloneness that they're feeling most of the time, where they don't feel that they could be vulnerable, show that, they are struggling. It's something, for example, I can't stand Father's Day, and that's a whole nother story. I don't even want to get into that. I don't like Father's Day. I don't like it because I grew up. And I revere, have reverence for mothers. I respect and honor mothers. I can never do Wodline what you do. Never. Not in a million years as a mother. I can never do what my wife does. But I could remember growing up, and whenever it was Mother's Day, Wodline, months in advance. It's in the works. We're cooking. Months in advance, we're cooking. Making sure we honor and celebrate our mothers. But year after year, when Father's Day come, last minute, and I was a father. Last minute, they're trying to ask me for help. What can we do for Father's Day? And I'm a father. And so there was never value put into fathers. I know some of us are not doing what we have to do, but there's a lot of phenomenal fathers out there. And so build that black man up. Let him know that he's appreciated and that you love him.
It's interesting. My next question was what are some things we as a Black or Haitian community can do to better support men and fathers? I'm just going to add anything additional to what you just said.
As a Haitian community?
Yeah.
Listen, that's a loaded question. That's a loaded question because, when we grew up, I have to choose my words wisely.
Got it.
We grew up with Lean. I think a lot of us, the things we hated the most about our parents or our leaders in the Haitian community are who we are becoming now. It's exactly who we're becoming now. I grew up in, there wasn't a camaraderie there. There wasn't men lifting up other men. The community wasn't lifting up men. The community wasn't lifting up Black fathers. I would remember sermon after sermon after sermon, just sermons about how bad a man is and how, a father is. And yes, I get it. We got some of them out there. We know we got some of them out there that aren't doing their business, but we got a whole lot of them that are really doing a stand-up job. but we're becoming the very same things that we couldn't stand. And I'm part of a
Mm.
group with some leaders, and I'm witnessing that the very things that we hated growing up is the very people we're trying to be now. And so that's why, Woodline, you had asked me a question about um, uh, do I want to be called Pastor Harry or now? Listen, I'm Harry above all. You know, I'm your brother, and I don't hide behind the title pastor. And I'll be damned, excuse my language, right? If I would come on live with a tie and a suit on, just
Mm-hmm.
to have this specific look that a pastor's supposed to have. But anyway, again, I'm going on off on a tangent. But what can we do as a Haitian community? I think it's going back to what I said before. Uh, Words of affirmation to build up our black men and our fathers. Let them know that they appreciate it. You know, give some attention to the fathers too on Father's Day. How about that? How about them apples? The Haitian community is a tough community.
Mm.
And so I think, above all, I think we need to start loving on our Haitian leaders more than ever. You know, a lot of them has have gone, and we're bringing flowers when they can't even
Mm.
don't even
Not
understand
well.
that flowers are before them. You feel me? Give me my
Mm.
flowers now. Let me know right now that you love me. Let me know right now that you appreciate me. Specifically in the Haitian community, if there's any pastors, Haitian pastors listening on right now, you have a Haitian pastor that's listening, or Haitian leaders, listen, start to build relationships with these younger leaders in the community. Start to branch out, and that's we stuck to the the sect that we're in, and love on and build relationship with some of these other younger black men.
Oh, it's good. Um, so going back to fatherhood, what are
Yeah.
some life lessons every father should teach their son and
Mm.
their daughter?
Okay. So one of the questions I get a lot is, you know, how do you do it? You know, give me some advice. There's no blueprint. The
Mm.
blueprint doesn't exist. Um, there's no one that could give you the roadmap of, you know, how to get things right as a father or a mother, specifically a father. Um, what I try to do is raise them in the precepts of Christ. I have 6 children with 6 different personalities,
Mm.
and I have to understand every single personality. How I
Mm.
talk to Brielle is not how I can talk to Nyla. How I talk to Aiden, I can't talk to TJ in that passion. Um, I try every day to have specific conversations with every single one of my kids, about how their day went. And we talk, me and my kids talk on a daily. A lot of the time, my strength is drawn from my kids. A lot of the time, when I don't feel like I could continue, I draw strength from them. A lot of times when, life is happening and tears are running down my cheeks, my kids are the one who embraces me.
Mm.
Of course, my wife is there, but a lot of the times, my kids remind me. My kids are throw out a scripture towards me.
Mm.
I could remember, and it's a journey, family. I could remember my daughter, who's 20 now. She's 20. Listen, Bomdu, Mekuzi. Yeah, my daughter, when she was 18, around, I would say 17, 16, 17, I promise you, I think this girl was working for the devil. She could not, I kid you not, this girl could not stand me. Oh, she
Mm.
couldn't stand me. Me and her
No,
were
21.
butting heads. Oh my goodness, me and her were butting heads 24/7. And, she's 21 now. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure you knew, to my wife. I just wanted to make sure. I knew she was 21. She couldn't stand me. And it was always a
Mm.
struggle. My wife would always say, Harry, be patient. she's, you know, she's going through her moments. Be patient, and I'll be like, yo, babe, you better get your girl. You know, I'm about to catch a case. Get her. I'm gonna knock her out, babe. You know, my wife would always tell me to, you know, chill, Harry. You know, she's going through her time. Just let her do her thing. Right now, me and this girl, she got me wrapped around her finger right now. You know, that's my baby. She has me wrapped around her finger. My son, my oldest son, TJ, he's gonna be 23. You know, we never had any issues. We never beefed. We never had any type of problem with my son, nor did my wife have any issues with my son. We never had to, you know, go to school for any issues he was having, no life issues. We raised him right. And one day, homie decided he wanted to just pick up and leave, you know?
Oh, wow.
No beef. He just, you know, he was going through his own thing. And you have to understand, you can cross every T and dot every I. You can be praying with this kid every single night, every morning, every evening. You can be sitting down at the dinner table with that kid every day, and you raise that kid perfectly, if that even exists. And that kid's still going to get to a point in his or her life where they're going to make a decision to go left or they're going to go right. And for quite some time, me and my wife, we struggled because we thought we failed as parents because out of nowhere, homie just wanted to pick up and leave like it was an issue. But he was going through his own thing. And he's with us now. My family's all together. But he left and he went on his own journey. We one thing I told my kids, specifically my son, I said to him, one of the worst things you could ever have is a praying parent, you know, because, you know, we're always going to be around and God's always going to draw you right back to us, you know. You're protected, you know, no matter what you want to do. If it's going to be detrimental to you because we're praying to you, it ain't going to succeed. You know, you want to go left and God's calling is for you to go right. I'm sorry for you. We've been praying for you. So you're going to go the direction that, you know, God has called you to go. And so, no matter what, Woodline, the child is going to make their decision at one point to go either left or right. And you have to be all right with it because you've been praying. You've been sowing a seed into that child. You raised them up right. And no matter what deviation may come in their life, you know they're going to come right back to the place that God called them to be. You know, I mean, right now, the relationship I have with my kids is just beautiful, beautiful. Just before I came down here, you know, one of my kids just basically dug in my pocket to, you know, get some money just to go get some popcorn that she wanted, you know. Probably before the night's over, another was going to ask me for money to get something else. Someone's going to ask me to drive them over here, over there. It's tiring, but I wouldn't be able to, I wouldn't ask for anything else in the world. I love it.
Sad.
And on top of it, I got a dog. So I didn't even mention my dog. You know?
Your what?
My dog.
Your dog?
I didn't mention my dog, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I have a dog as well. So listen, my household would lean. If you were to come to my household for one day, you would never want to leave. It's a sitcom. It's a sitcom.
Full of joy.
But it's joyful, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So what does legacy mean to you?
Listen, I had one of the OGs as my father, Pastor Senior. All my life, Woodline, all I ever saw my mother and father do is exude love on other people. And I've seen my mother and father get slapped around left and right. I've seen them pour out love and still get abandoned. I've seen them pour out love and still get stabbed behind the back. And that same person who stabs them behind the back, they still continue to love on that person. Um, that love that my parents have for people in general, that overflowed onto us, his children, specifically me. Um, my legacy. What does legacy mean to me? It means everything to me. It means after it's said and done, um, it doesn't matter the title that I've had with Lynn. It doesn't matter the fun that we've had. What matters is, did I leave a lasting impact in your life for the better, for the good? Um, did I leave an imprint in your life? That's what matters to me. I don't care about the funny business. I don't care about the limelight. The fact of the matter is, if I wanted the limelight, I would have had it. Have the limelight. Doesn't matter to me. I don't care to be preaching in front of a crowd of 20,000 people. If that's God's will, so let it be. But I'm not chasing after it. I want to build relationships and allow God to use me to be an impact in the lives of as many people as possible. Um, you know, I get calls from people randomly. Uh, you know, probably haven't spoken in 2-3 months, and we sit down and chop it up, and it's always a life changing conversation. And so, legacy is everything to me. Everything that I do is to leave an impact on people's life for the better. That they may be strengthened, that they may be uplifted, um, that they find their true calling through Christ. Even if you don't know Christ, that to know that you're loved. I love you. You know, um, it doesn't matter your background. It doesn't matter your history. It doesn't matter what you've done. It doesn't matter what you will continue to do. I love you because God loved me, and He loves you even more. And so, legacy is everything to me. You know, but right now, let me know how much you love me. Don't come bringing flowers at my funeral, guys. Let me know right now in the land of the living. If I've impacted you, let me know. That builds me up. That gives me strength. And Lord knows I need it. Lord knows I need it.
Oh, that was good. So we're gonna move on and talk about marriage. So your wife
Mm.
is in the chat, so watch your answers.
Mm.
Cause I know she will come for you.
You know it. You know it like a poet.
That's right. So what are some things, and Marae, please feel free to answer some of the questions in the chat too. What are some things you wish you knew before you got married?
You know, I really did. When I got married, it was just, well, Maya, dégagez. You know, it's, you're about to get married, handle your business. I wish when I was getting married, I, I knew what, I knew how to truly love, you know, unconditionally. Because when I got married, I was young. I was extremely young, and I,
Oh
I,
yeah.
I was what I was
Sorry.
probably, yeah, you can also add it. Yeah, I was what 20. I was 21, 22 when I got married. So listen, you know, I'm still a kid, and I loved her. I still do. I love her even more every day. I fall in love with her even more. Nothing will ever take my love away from my love, my wife away. But it was also conditional. I was young, and it's like if you don't rock with me the way I want you to rock with me, it's gonna be a problem. It took me quite some time to understand that marriage is about. A lot of people think marriage is about just gaining. Marriage is about losing. You know, marriage is about losing yourself, so that you losing me, so that we can have an us. It's not. I'm not saying to lose your identity. But I remember when I got married, there was a lot of knucklehead friends that I had, and those were my boys. They never did anything wrong to me, and those were my people. But my wife didn't like me hanging around people like this, and so for the sake of my marriage, you guys gone. No love lost, but I love my wife, and I'm I'm focused on creating a life with my wife. But I wish I knew um, more about finances.
Mm.
I wish I knew more about making sure my credit was excellent. I wish I knew more
Mm.
about property, and possibly real estate and the finances of life. I wish I knew a little bit more about that. I would probably be much further than I am now in life. I was always a smart kid. My wife was always a smart woman, but I just wish that when we got married, we were given a little bit more when we got married. We would have been so much further in life than we are now.
Mm. That's
And
good.
then forget about fatherhood. I mean, I saw a great father in my dad. But again, remember,
Mm.
my my dad was Pastor Osini. One of his biggest focus was ministry. And so,
Mm.
although I was, wherever my dad was, you always saw me. But that also
Mm.
removed him from my life for a certain extent, too, because it was always ministry. It
Straight.
was like the
Mm.
church is like it was like the church, and then we came and we understood it. We understood that
Mm.
the church, and then it was us, and we were all right with it. That was his first love. And so when I got
Oh.
married, Woodland, I was doing the same thing. So
Mm.
it was God, it was church, God, and then family for quite some time in my life.
Mm.
And it was ministry, I should say, God and family. And I remember God just said to me one day, "You got to flip the script on that." And I said, "Well, God, there's a lot of work to do in ministry. I got, we need to do
Mm.
this. We need to." And God said, "Listen, you need to flip that around." It would lead the minute I flipped it around and it became God, family, and ministry. The
Mm.
doors that started to open in my life, I couldn't contain it. I had to help people, ask people to help me with the blessings that were coming in, simply because it was
Mm.
God, family, and then ministry. And so grew up seeing my dad all in ministry. I wish when I got married, I focused more on my family, focused more on God, my family. Again, I think I'll be much further than I am in life. I'm blessed. I am blessed, but I think I left some things on the table because there's certain things I missed
Mm.
from inception. And on top of it, Woodline, when I got married, I didn't have anyone my age that was married. I was the only one.
Mm.
Everyone else that I associated with were either younger, or if they were older, I couldn't really go to them for much because they weren't married. So what type of advice you gonna give me? You didn't have any kids.
Mm.
What are you gonna say to me? So a lot of the things with Lean Out, I just learned through trial and error. Made a lot of
Oh.
mistakes. A lot of mistakes. I have a great father, but my father was born and raised in Haiti. There's a lot of things he just can't understand, and he wouldn't be able to give me the advice with certain things that I was going through in this culture, in this life. So there was a
Mm.
lot of trial and error, a lot of trial and error. There wasn't a support group back then like we uh, could and should have now.
Oh. Thanks for sharing that. To
Okay.
continue, what are some lessons you've learned in your 24 years of marriage?
Oh, it's been a journey. My 24 years, you've had highs, you've had lows. Uh, One of the biggest things I could say I've learned over the course of 24 years is, you know, try your best. This right here, this tongue right here,
Mm.
it's a killer. It's a killer. It's a murderer. And my dad would always remind me, Harry, um, always remove yourself from the situation if you feel that you're getting hot. If you're upset, if you're angry, rather leave the situation than to open your mouth to say anything. Because in that hot space, you can say certain things that
Mm.
you can forgive. The person could forgive you, but they'll
They
never
won't forget.
forget.
Nope.
You know, They'll forgive you, but they'll never forget.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things advice I want to give is um, tomorrow ain't promised. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we've seen this in the last 3 years. Um, Death all around us, and we've been losing loved ones left and right, to and from. Just been losing loved ones. It got to a point during the pandemic that I had a nervous breakdown. You know, I was at a
Wow.
corner crying somewhere because, you know, we were losing so many people and we couldn't keep up. And I had friend, I had someone call me and tell me that, Harry, you don't understand. Um, I'm picking up, this person's, uh, works in the funeral business and says, I'm going to pick up people in the morgue, and the morgue is a trailer full of bodies, and they don't even know
Mm-hmm.
where these people are. We're searching for a specific person. No one knows where they are. And so I say all this to say, what's that bad? What's that tough that that you have to go to sleep angry at your wife or your husband? What is it that's that bad that's keeping you guys from going to sleep at peace? More and more as I get older, I refuse. Me personally, I refuse to go to sleep angry. I may get upset, but I'll stay upset for about, 10, 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. And it's a wrap after that because I just don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. And so love
Mm-hmm.
hard. Love hard. It's easy to hate, you know. It's hard to love, you know. And so love your wife, love your husband hard. It's, in a snap of a finger. I would tell my kids this all the time. Hey, I'm not here tomorrow. I got to continue to handle the business. They don't want to hear it, but who knows? I might get behind the wheel and that's the last you see of me. So uh, make, I know we hear this a lot, but really, allow, think of each day as your last day. Don't go to sleep upset and
Mm-hmm.
angry at your wife or your husband. Love on them hard, unconditionally. Um, because, Woodline, real talk is we're all screwed up. All of
Mm-hmm.
us. None of us got it together. Not a single one. We're a whole bunch of sinful, messed up people, and we should be gone. Scripture says the wages of sin is death. If I work with lean 80 hours every 2 weeks, okay, my job is required. The only agreement I have with you is that I toil, I hustle, and at the end of a 2 week period, your obligation is to financially compensate me. That's the only, agreement I have. I've earned my money. I've earned my wages. And it's the same with scripture. We've earned death. It says the wages of sin is death. But his grace on us allows us to be renewed, allows us to be part of that everlasting life club. And so if he has that unconditional love for us in all of our messed up ways, because we could come on ING Live 24/7 and make it seem like we got it all together. We don't.
Mm-hmm.
And he knows it. And he still loves on us in spite of it. And he will continue to love on us. There's nothing that we can do to make God love us less. We are not that powerful. And so if he loves us unconditionally with all our screwed up ways, how can we not love our wives and our husbands unconditionally, no matter how much turmoil you may go through? There's better days than bad. There's more better days than bad days. And so if you have a wife and a husband, love on them unconditionally, forgive them, and watch God move in your life.
Excuse me. I was scared. It's about to be 9, so I'm not too sure if you're open for to a few questions
Sure,
from our viewers. So if anyone has
sure,
any
let's go.
questions, feel free to put them in the chat.
Jeff, what's going on? Mr. Petit Compere,
He says full name.
calling people out.
Do what you gotta do. But this was good. I really appreciate the conversation
It's
and
all
your
good. No,
honesty throughout the evening. So if anyone has
listen,
any questions, feel free. Feel free to put it in the chat. Hey, Jeff.
Man, I love it. I love it. I love it. Jeff has 3 or 4 kids. I think Jeff trying to be in my club with six club, if I'm not mistaken. Not a lot of people wants to join my club with me, and I don't know why.
What? I'm gonna be quiet.
No, listen. You join my club. Look, you get this exclusive. You know, you get the exclusive baldy if you join my club. That's
You're right.
official. Oh, Jeff is heading to 6 kids.
So, what advice would you give to a young couple who, oh, someone has a question. Kid, when your kids were younger, did you or your wife ever disagree on how to discipline your kids? Oh, there's okay, these questions are coming kind of fast. So, yeah.
All right. So, yeah, let me answer that question. So, one of the things me and my wife agreed on, even if you don't like what I'm doing, don't ever, try to correct me in front of the kids. You can pull me to the corner and body slam me if you want, but don't do it in front of the kids. Because listen, these kids, they're sneaky, they're resilient. If a kid, and again, we went through it, if a kid realizes, I might go to mom, and I ask mom for something, and mom says no, that kid's going to run to dad because they know, and dad says yes, you're done. Because the kid will always manipulate. Kids will be kids, and if they can manipulate and get over, they will, because we did it. And so it's always, if a kid comes to me, what did your mother say? But no, we will never go back. If my wife disciplines my kids in a certain way, if I'm not happy with it, my wife will know thereafter, vice versa. Not in front of the kids.
Okay.
Nah, I ain't gonna let that. We're not gonna crack in front of them. Then they're gonna take over the ship. We're not being.
Okay. The next question was, as a pastor, how do you keep the balance between church and home? That's a good question.
Okay, so it's simple. I keep the balance. I don't play around anymore. Remember, there was a point in my life where there was no balance. Everything was church, and then my family. And in between that, I'd sprinkle some time with me and God. I'm not doing that. I stopped doing that a while ago. I'm not beat with going to church on a Sunday. I'm spending all day in church on a Sunday. No, I'm going to go to church. I'm going to receive what I need to receive. And then I'm going to home with my family. I'm going to eat with my family. We're going to play some board games. We're going to watch some movies. Okay, I'm going to build with my family. But yeah, every parent out there, if you have young kids, your kids are in elementary school or even high school, cut it out. Your first ministry is your family, okay? After you're long gone, the church is here now, the church will be here tomorrow, and when you're long gone, the church is still going to be here, whether you're, pouring your life into the church or not. Make sure you invest your time and your energy in God, your family, and then ministry in that order. It doesn't make sense any other way.
The next question was, did you feel guilty when you decided to flip the script and put your family before the church?
No, not at all. You got to understand, I've been in ministry all my life. There was never a point in my life that I wasn't in ministry. I poured my life out to ministry. I suffered for ministry, for the church. I took a lot of L's for the church and for ministry. I cried. There was times the church turned its back on me. I felt deserted at times. The church, at one point in my life, caused me to be extremely suicidal, because when you pour so much love into a thing and pour so much love into a group of people, and for them to reject you for no good reason, or to turn away from you or stab you in the back, it's traumatizing. And so, no, I didn't feel guilty at all, because my requirement is not to pour my life into the church. That is God. What God has called me to do is, I can't leave the God of people if I'm not even there for my own people, my family. It doesn't make sense. So no, no guilt whatsoever. He is my source of strength, so I got to tap into him first. Outside of him, I'm nothing. And then my family is my secondary strength after Christ. If I got these two together, I could tackle anything on the face of this earth. But I got to have these two first. It's God and then my family and then ministry.
I don't think I see any more. The question I have for you, hopefully I remember it. What advice would you give to a married couple who may be going through something, but they don't know where to go? As far as like for counsel, especially like in the church community. Sometimes it can be hard.
Yeah. For married couple right now, outside of counsel, that's taboo. We don't go to counsel. Well, no, it's not taboo. Counsel, it is going to be a big support, a big help. But I can understand some reservations at time, and I can understand that sometimes there's not a sense of urgency to go towards counseling. Real talk is this. Listen, you got something in front of you, and it's called the good book. It's the Bible. That's our blueprint. Everything is in there. Real talk. Everything is in there. There was a couple that were married for I think 70 to 80 years. And the couple was over 100 years of age, and they asked the old couple, "How did you guys do it? How did you stay married for so long?" And the woman responded. She said, "Well, back in my day when something was broken, we didn't throw it away. We fixed it." That speaks, so much to me. No matter how bad the situation may seem, no matter what you may be going through prayer and through love, and I'm talking about that true unconditional love. You gotta understand when you get married, and I understand certain situations are thicker than others. And Woodley, I know there's situations that are thicker than others. I get it.
Yes.
But listen, whatever you can do to build on your marriage, whatever you can do there's a lot of there was a lot of times in my marriage where we just wouldn't see eye to eye, and sometimes it would be my wife that would have to humble herself and love on me even though I'm being a jerk, and vice versa. Remember I told you marriage is about losing a lot, losing yourself, and there's certain battles that ain't worth fighting, and so I digress. Even though I think I'm right, for the sake of peace in my household and to glorify God and to make sure that my household's at peace, I'll let certain things go. But you gotta fight. You gotta fight. If it's broken, you fight and you fix it. And I get it. I say it again. I know there's certain things that are beyond you, but at the end of the day, when you're before your maker, you want to say, God, you see my heart. I did everything I possibly could. I left everything out on the table. I tried everything that I could. And God will reward you for that. But you don't give up. You fight and you love. And here go that unconditional love. You love no matter what. Because remember, when you got married, ain't no one put no gun to your head to tell you to recite those vows that I'll love and cherish in goodness and in health, in sickness and in, to death do us part. No one put a gun to your head to tell you to cry out those vows. And you said these vows not only before family and friends and society. You made that vow before God. There's a commitment that you made before God. And so woe to you if you don't put your best foot forward and try your best to keep that commitment. Woe to you. So listen, it ain't gonna be easy. Nowhere in scripture says life is gonna be easy and marriage is gonna be easy. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be really tough. 24 years, going on 25 years. And it's tough. We grew in wisdom. I say it and I say it again. I love my wife, 24 years ago. And I think I'll love her even more today, and I think tomorrow I'll love her even more. And there's nothing that's going to ever change that. It's never been gravy. It's not been gravy every day, but by the grace of God, we kept pushing. We kept pushing. There's some days we didn't like each other much, but we loved each other a whole lot.
So
Thank
are
you,
you guys
guys.
having a vow renewal?
We are.
Oh.
We're working on it. Listen, I've been looking for 25 years for a while, and we're gonna turn up. You know,
Oh.
they're gonna talk about Pastor Harry because we're gonna have a lot of fun. Um, they're gonna talk about Pastor Harry, but that's all right. It's my family. I'm celebrating, and so we're gonna dance. We're gonna celebrate. We're gonna enjoy a good time. But we definitely gonna renew our vows soon. Absolutely. And we're gonna do it big because
Awesome.
we didn't get to do it like we wanted when we were younger. So 25
Okay.
years, turn up.
Awesome. That's great. Any final words of wisdom or encouragement for fathers or men
Yeah,
and for married couples before we end?
yeah. So listen, for married couples out there, it's not easy for those of us who just got married or who are 10, 25 years in. One thing I could say to you, it may sound a little corny, but it is what it is. That's what allowed me to be knocking on 25 years is to keep Christ at the center. Um, as taboo as that may sound, 100%, not 100% of the reason I could knock on 25 is because through all the thickness, through all the ups and downs, uh, we kept Christ at the center. And even when we tried to remove him from the center, he was like, nah, I'm stationary. I'm staying right where I am. So stay, prayed up, love on each other, forgive heavy, forgive. We're human beings. We're not perfect. And forgive just as Christ forgives us. So there should be no reason you can't forgive your significant other, your wife, your husband, I should say. And love on them hard. Remember, you got to lose a lot of you to create us, all right? To all my fathers out there, listen, keep your head up. I love you. I know a lot of you guys out there. I know your husbands. Keep your head up. Even when others don't see your struggle. I understand that there's a whole bunch of fathers out there that are going through the same struggle, that feel unappreciated, that feel like they're just, running in circles, that don't feel that they're adequate enough. You are adequate. You uh, are fearfully and wonderfully made. You're a great father. You're a great husband. We got a lot of work to do. We're not perfect, but keep your head up. If anyone ever needs to talk, if anyone ever needs me, a lot of you have my number, but catch me on IG. If you ever just need to talk, just need to purge, or just need to, you know, lash out. I don't care what it is. I don't care if you got to curse just to get, certain emotions out. I'm all right with that. I'm not that thin-skinned. But I want you to know that, I'm a vessel. Whoever if you know someone out there who's going through something, let them know. Catch me on IG. Send something to my inbox, or message me, or call me, or find a way to get in contact with you. People have my number. I would love to chop it up with you, and pray with you, and love on you. To all my men listening out there, you appreciate it. I see your work. We got some great ones out there with me. Got some great ones out there. Um, they know who they are. We love you. Keep your head up. God is with you. And again, hit me up anytime you want. I got you.
Thank you. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you again for joining me on my coming back to IG Live. I really appreciate you taking the time to chat, and thank you, Murray, for letting us have for about an hour or so. I wish you
No,
guys the
listen.
best.
Listen, thank you so
Yes.
much. I thank God for the work that you're doing in this ministry. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my life. I wish my kids are all over the place.
Hmm.
Um, I wish they were here. I would have each and every one of them come on and say hi. But listen, thank you for
Oh,
having me. I appreciate it.
my pleasure.
Whenever you need me, I got you. I love
I
you.
know.
I appreciate you. We love you.
Love you too. Love you guys.
Love you
Thank you
guys.
guys.
Thanks for having
Have a
me. Take
wonderful
care.
evening.